All right. My name is Lorraine Danielson, and I am out of Dallas, Georgia. We are northwest of Atlanta. And today is day three of what happened when I stopped chasing leads and let them find me. This is definitely supposed to be geared more towards sellers. You do have to build out your framework for getting leads and on your site. But we kind of took a step back yesterday because we had a lot of questions about building out the site. So Mallory is going to be amazing. And after this, instead of me sharing some link in the chat, which some people had trouble opening. So a little bit of difficulty there. She's going to email you guys. I created another guide last night. So you're going to get everything. I went in and created a guide that is basically how to get started. It's step by step on how to build out your site, everything from niching down, right? Because that's what we talked about. You're going to niche down, you're going to build your site structure, you're going to build out your pages, your IDX feed, how to do a saved search, how to do everything. And then eventually at the very end, it's going to teach you how to build out the content I have with the prompts. Everybody asks that. It's like the colors on my page and stuff. And in each section is a link to my workbook, right? So you're going to have access to all the workbooks and everything on how to build it all out. So that's going to be our key. I'm going to recap a few things. Obviously, I have Seer Interactive. So if somebody hops on this and you have something else, most of those prompts, you would have to modify it if you decided you wanted to build something on another site. But why would you want to, right? You want to use Sierra. I do have my Google My Business built out, a little bit of YouTube and social media, but everything funnels back to my Sierra. So day one, we did talk about niching down. There is a guide on how to pick that. It's going to be the first thing you're going to do, and it's super critical that you understand where you want to niche down and work. As I told you, I am northwest of Atlanta. My site is Dallas, Georgia. I niched pretty hard down there because this is something else I need you to know. You're going to spend your time building this, or you're going to pay somebody to build it. So if you want to build it yourself, you're going to need to have a smaller area to start unless you just have a lot of time. This is a great hobby. You're into this, you love doing this because it is work. If you want to build something massive, and I'm going to show you a massive website right here. This is a Sierra website that got built out. He did pay someone. He's getting a lot of buyer leads from it, but watch this. These are his counties. Like if I look at the drop down, look at how many counties. I'm in one. He has had somebody build him out all these different counties. And then under the counties are the cities in the counties. And then he's got zip codes filled out and schools and everything interlinks. He created what I would call a mini Zillow in his area. But that takes a lot of time and that's going to take some money if you're not the one doing it. Can you hire an SEO company, somebody to do it? I know some people who have VAs overseas. They help them build. They're an $8 to $12 solution once you teach them what you need. But that's if you want to buyer leads. I wanted seller leads. So I built a framework out. I'm working on the buyer side, but for me, I wanted sellers. It's a different approach. I don't need every single thing to link out. I do show you how to do that in the guides. We talked about that yesterday. How you can come in and create all the content pages. I want to clarify one other thing. We use terms in Sierra on the back end that are not normally what you would use. So that was a question I seem to get a lot. And so let me open up. It's one thing I don't have is my side open. Um, we call these drop downs. In Sierra, this is going to be not called that. It's going to be managing a section. We call them a section. We call these landing pages usually normally in the back of Sierra. It's going to be called a page. You're going to manage your page and create your content. It's under content. So when you're creating that out, that's super crucial. Okay. So you can certainly build this as a strategy. It's possible. So let's talk about the next step to this, and then we're going to move into the seller side. So there's a couple of different ways that you can interlink to have a strategy like Zillow. So you're going to have your IDX, which he certainly has here. Um, that's a built-in component into Sierra. The second one, which if you look at one of my pages, let's come over here um, to my zip code page, right? You can open it up for pricing. I would suggest you do that, right? Like this is how they can search for that in a range. You can also create these content blocks. I'm going to not go into that deep today. I touched on it yesterday. There is in the guides how to do this. So this is right here, popular real estate homes for sale searches in Dallas, Georgia. And these are long tail keywords, and you can build that out. So that's a second module that Sierra has. And then the third thing that they have is right here. And this is a sidebar. And you can build your sidebars out. And you need to start off with a default one. This is pretty much everything that's out there. And then after you have a default where it can interlink, if you wanted to build niche down, like right here where he's got everything generic because he's in a county. But what if I go into one of his cities? If I go into his cities, right, you could see other cities, other counties. You could also do things specific to that city, zip codes, schools that feed into that city. You could get very deep on this. Let's talk about the difference in looking at a computer, a desktop. Most people are on their phone nowadays, right? They're not on a desktop. On a desktop, a sidebar is what it's called, a sidebar. But if you go to your phone, you have to scroll all the way down. It's still giving you SEO juice, but it's at the very, very, very bottom, and it's going to make your page long, right? Don't get freaked out by that. Um, the way Zillow wins, and I have a search pulled up right here. This is Dallas, Georgia. The way they win is all this interlinking. That's what they do. Like I had to, like this is the bottom of an IDX feed. I did click in. Let me go back one. 5-bedroom homes for sale in Dallas, Georgia. So when I get all the way to the end of this feed, that's what I'm talking about. They interlinked. Okay. And that's another module that you can do in here because you can create sidebars. So I gave you detailed instructions on how to create a sidebar, and then I'm going to start building out some for my different pages. I just started one as an example. And I'll show you what that looks like. So see, it searched the Dallas, Georgia for homes, but if I wanted to do it in a neighborhood, what could you do? So this is a large master plan community in my neighborhood. So I have 3-bedroom homes in Seven Hills, and I set up searches. I also had blogged about the amenities a lot, and so I'm adding that as a section because that's very specific to that neighborhood. My next thing I could do is build out schools for there. So if I wanted to, this is super easy. I'm going to add a link, and then I would type in the school. So that high school is North Paulding, right? And then look what happens every time I did it. And then I can see if it's just a saved search, if it's my homes for sale, if it's my content page. So there's my content page. So I would put that in there. So that would be schools for Seven Hills, right? And I can embed this on the page. The fourth way you can link back is I'm going to give you my content block. Okay, that's number 4. It's also in the instructions. Um, Let me get back to my site. So for example, if you come down on my pages here and you go to the very bottom of them, sorry, that one's on. Whoops, I don't have it on that one yet. Let's do this. This is something new that I built out, and I'm going to share it with y'all. But basically, I took it off because I reworked some of my links. Do I have it here? Um, yeah, this is it. So this is all my major keywords. My homes for sale in Dallas, Georgia, and Paulding County. How many bedrooms? Open houses. I'm just using a Zillow strategy. These are nearby cities. These are the zip codes out here. These are my long tail keywords, right? Homes in Dallas, Georgia with a pool, all that. My schools. This is a quick and easy one I created at the bottom so that I can pop that in. It's a fourth way to have things that link, and it's got my call to action at the bottom. The fifth way you can get interlinking is content, right? So see, there's a neighborhood. Let me go to, I'm going to go to my neighborhoods and I'm going to go to Seven Hills. This one's got a lot of content on it. See, look at all this content. Those all link out. That's the last thing you need to do is learn how to build out the content. There is a content generator in here. So if you look, the first thing is how to figure out how to niche down. Number two is how to build out your framework. Okay. Step three is all those links, how to create a content block, a sidebar, anything like that. That is step by step. Number four, very last thing you need to do. I know everybody likes when they see this and it's all in colors and pictures and all that, but this is really going to be the last thing you're going to do. And that is that's number four. So some of you may have a lot of content built up that's watching this. Some of you may be starting from ground zero. But if you start from ground zero, you got to follow all these steps. You will hear my squeaky Southern voice in your ear one day because something will be broken and you did a lot of work and now you're not there if you don't follow the steps. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's super critical. I'm in a tear down phase on that side and I'm not loving it because I'm trying to build more and I've had to take a step back to do that. And I had some stuff nestled under the wrong drop downs. So I'm just telling you, it's not fun. So right here, make a copy of this if you want to create the content. And then I also gave you my prompt for Claude and I tell you exactly how to do it, what to put in there, everything you need to know. And it will create, if you tell it its colors, it'll create it. It'll pull information. Another reminder, you are the local expert. When it writes information for this neighborhood, sometimes it's not accurate and I have to go back and correct it. You've got to read what it writes. It even tells you that it makes mistakes because it does. It's not you. It always wants to put townhomes and condos in that neighborhood, and there are no townhome and condos almost out here at all, much less in that neighborhood. Okay, so that is all going to be in there. But today I'm going to talk about what was really my superpower. We all have a superpower. It was I wanted to get listings. Okay, I wanted to. Once I built my framework, I wanted to get listings. So buyer leads. I listened to Carl Franz the other day, his Sierra thing, and he talked about he doesn't have a lead generation issue. He has a lead conversion issue. He can get a ton of leads. He has a huge site. He's one of the examples in that guide that I gave you. He gets a lot of leads in. He built a massive site that interlinks just like Zillow. But we all know they clicked on a pretty house. They did not come in for information about anything else, and they're not going to call you unless they really want to see a house that day, and they might click a button and schedule to see a home. But really, they're like every other lead, like a Google PPC lead. They just saw a pretty home, and they came in and you lead captured them. I did not want that. Am I building that on my site because we do want buyers? The market shifted, but when I started this, I wanted seller leads. So I built my shell, built my basics enough that it thought I had high content in Dallas, Georgia, and I wanted sellers. I wanted someone that called me, texted me, emailed me, just like a referral did. So for me to do that, that's what I'm going to teach today. So we are 15 in. I got 45 minutes to do this. This is so much easier to me than the other piece. The other piece is a lot of time, but this will do a lot. Mallory, do I have some questions? I see a lot of chat. Uh,
Yes. Yep. You have a few questions.
mm.
Let's see. Uh, you have a couple from Alex Matthews, and then one from Michael Corum as well.
All right. So, Alex, it looks like you're not indexing. You've only had your site. Do you have your Google console set up yet? For because you'll need that, your Google console, and then you can go in and paste in your sitemap. So let me show you really quick. So at the very, very, very bottom of your site, it's very tiny down here. It says sitemap. And this is how your site's built out. And what you're going to do is you are going to put this in your Google console. Let me, um, and then you're going to come over here and you're going to put your sitemap in, right? See sitemaps, and you're going to put it in, and you can make it so it will be for success, right? And so there's got to be a video out there on YouTube somewhere how to do this, but that's really what you're going to do. If you don't have your Google console set up, you probably are not indexing properly. And then, oh, you do that and you pasted your sitemap, then you definitely need to get with support. Something's going on. Um, let's see. Pro site. What other question are we sure?
There's one from Michael about are you placing the school content pages under their respective counties?
I have a school page built out, and then I'm only in one county. If you did multiples, you would have to divide that out. And then I would tell you don't let that be a big drop down. Nobody's searching through a massive drop down. You could do it kind of nestled like my neighborhood pages. I think I got out of my site again. There we go. Got a lot of tabs open. So on my neighborhoods, I have neighborhoods spelled out here, and you could do that too. This is one of those content label blocks. So I would label those. And I can show you on my school tab. So you could do the same thing. I have mine sorted by, as you can see here, these are my different schools. I have them broken out this way. You could do a content label and have different counties. There's a couple different ways you could do that. See, here they are in the content blocks here. So I've got my high schools first, my middle, and then my elementary. But you could do that for different counties. You do not want this to be a massive drop down, like I said. It's just too much. I might even move these to the top so it's easy to navigate. That would probably be something I could do. But this will give you that content to link for your sidebars. When you're building out cities underneath these counties, you could make a content block also for that. It's actually not, it's really easy once you've got the pages built. I would go that deep because that's how you're going to win against Zillow. If you had a county that had all the schools, and then underneath the schools, if you had in the ones that go to a city or even a neighborhood page, if you know that neighborhood really well, look on your, MLS and say, okay, this is the high school that goes to that neighborhood, the middle school, and the three elementaries. And build that out as a content block just for that school. That's how deep you can get to win. But like I said, that one probably is going to be work. Let's see. On the page indexing, okay, somebody's trying to help. Um, okay, somebody answered there, I think. Yeah, but you could definitely build that out. And here's the other thing, there's not a ton built out on Zillow for schools. So somebody is looking, and in my area, they absolutely 100% look for schools. And that's something that they want all the time. And so most people will say what school they want more than a city or a zip code if they've got small children. All right, so now we're going to move over. I'm going to start talking about sellers. So I will tell you it for me was the easier thing. As you see, I don't have a lot built out on this tab. You don't need it. I do have sell and I do have list. I've talked about this all week. The reason that I did that was I wanted seller and I wanted seller leads. And even though this is not commonly searched, it helps me be the whole screen. Um, and I'm gonna, oh, I got rid of that. Let me flip out of this. I'm gonna show you. Let me go back to a real estate this deal talk. This is really why. There are times if somebody's not running an ad, right? Because you can't beat an ad if somebody runs an ad. There are times though in the day in my county, I can be everything, right? This, and it's crazy. I can be in the AI overview. This fluctuates. That's a never ending AI. They like to change, but there are times where I am the answer. If they type in sell my Dallas, Georgia home, list it, anything to do with selling their home, I'm going to pull up. Um, I can be the AI. I can be the image and the little box to the side. I can be number one and I can be number three. Yesterday, I was one and two for something I typed in. I wrote some blogs that were on there. This is the AI that day. It recommended me homes for sale. I'm the top two in this box. It varies. That will change. Don't get freaked out about that. Don't get hung up if you want sellers in the analytics, because on the seller side, they're not clicking in and registering always on your site. What they are doing is calling, emailing you, and texting you. They want to list a house. They'll tell you, like this person, they want to list in the next week or two. They were interviewing local agents. Um, you're just trying to be the answer or the solution. So, my house did not sell in Dallas, Georgia. Now, what do I do? Let's see here. All right. Um, these are some ads. I'm the answer, right? I'm the answer. That's what you're really trying to get, right? Sell my Dallas, Georgia home. Right? They want to sell it. Let's see what's happening today. So, see, somebody else is in the AI. It's fickle. There I am right there. There I am right there. I just want to be on there more than someone else. So, how did I do that? So, let's break that down. So, in Sierra, like I said, I only have a few things that I drive everybody to on the sell it. I have sell your Dallas, Georgia home, and you'll see there's not a ton of content. It's just the fact that I drove a ton of stuff back to this page for them to call me and register. Same with listing their home. I just have some basics on here. It's not high depth. It's all the blogs that I wrote. So I'm giving you my prompt and I'm going to give you also in here. So here's my prompt. You'll have step by step how I build it out for the blogs and what information you need to complete. And then I'm giving you 130 blogs that you could write. And my prompt is very specific. Here's where you get into the danger. You don't want to cannibalize, which means steal SEO juice from your listing and selling pages. You're trying to drive traffic there, not pull it away. So in here, it literally is going to have some things it will not do. It's never going to use these phrases. Sell my home in Dallas, Georgia. Sell your Dallas, Georgia home. List my home in Dallas, Georgia. It's not going to use any in this subset because those are keywords that those pages need so that I'm driving it back so I can rank. The blogs are going to answer questions that people need, right? So the blogs are these blog posts to rank for listings, and there's 130 topics, and it talks to you about priority. I want to sell my house in XYZ city state. What are my first steps? Sell my house. how to sell your house, how to sell your house fast without losing money, um, sell it fast for cash. If you do the fast cash one, you're going to get people with a house that's in bad shape. You better have some investors. And, a lot of that gets bought a lot, but you can still rank for it. Like, I'll show you for an example here. Sell my house fast. Now, they could just say that generic and they could not say Dallas and you won't show up. See, this gets bought a lot, but there I am. Like I said, if you decide you want to do that one, let's see what AI mode says. Yeah, it's going to get into some investors and things like that. Homelight shows up a lot for that. They run ads. Um, but like I said, if you want to do that one, you better have a plan because you're going to get some junky stuff and you can get just distressed people, right? They got a job reload, they got to sell, things like that. Why they can't sell their home right now, that's really a hot topic because in some areas, like in my area, we have a lot of inventory and houses are setting, and we're seeing a lot of houses get expired and withdrawn. The next one's going to be high research intent. This is how to price their home. You could have a seller's guide. You got to remember when you write a blog, anytime, one, don't cannibalize the listing, but number two, it's specific. I mentioned this before. Nobody understands and comes to something if you just call it a seller's guide. It has to have your city and name, your state, your zip code, that school district, if you're targeting school districts, whatever you're trying to target, it has to have that in there. Because just the term buyer's guide, seller's guide, that's too generic. Nobody's coming to you from that, and it's not going to help you rank. You gotta, that's why you should always say homes for sale in Dallas, Georgia. It's a home for sale, and where am I located at? So then you've got some mindset and life situations you could get if you don't want to work a client, right? If you don't want to work in downsizing and you don't have resources to help somebody with downsizing, then don't write that blog, right? Like write blogs that talk about, business you want, right? If you want to sell horse farms, you're going to talk about horse farms, right? You're going to talk about selling a horse farm, all the things that somebody would want to know if they had to sell a horse farm. If you have lake properties, if you have condos, you know what I mean? HOAs, roof issues, insurance, anything that somebody would need to know about that. You could target specific condo associations to sell. Pre-listing questions. When I first started, these were the first things I wrote because I didn't know to write the other until later on. But in the beginning, I answered every question somebody could ask about landscaping, prepping their home, staging, doggy smells, anything that would have anything to do with a house. Those help you, but you got to target, once again, your city and state. You can't just write a blog about how people don't like houses with smells because nobody's going to then find your site and it's not going to direct them back to you. So these are like 130 to get you started. But I'm telling you, if you want to niche down, you can get very creative. Will somebody find your blog? Absolutely. You just saw my selling blogs get found, right? Um, they are answering a question, and people that go out there are searching and asking a question. So if you are looking at a topic, like for existent, or for an example, let's say you do have horse farms. Um, let's see, what do I need to know to sell my horse farm in Georgia? See, this is the first thing that pulled up. Obviously, this is Google. I don't know where Chartersville is. What do I need to know to sell my horse farming? Something else. See, it's a derivative. So come in here and look. AI is telling you somebody wrote this. Somebody wrote an article about this. Come in and write a blog about all of this as one, and then write a blog about each individual thing. And like I said, you're going to link everything back to your listing and seller pages. What to fix. I mean, it's literally telling you everything. I don't know where Charlottesville is either. Top 10 tips for selling your horse farm. How to sell horse farm properties and attract the right buyers. But let's see, has anybody done anything out here? All right, in Dallas, Georgia, somebody wrote a blog, right? A complete guide to selling your horse farm. Let's even see where that goes to. Okay. Somebody wrote this. This is not Dallas, Georgia, right? So you could totally go in your area if this is your jam and write. And if they got specific about it, you'd probably be gold, right? Um, if you have YouTube, you could add that in, right? Like any of that kind of stuff. Um, So that's really how I got sellers. I wrote blogs about it. So I'm going to show you now how to use this prompt. So I've got my prompt all built out. My guide is going to show you how to put your information in there and create your own. So it is your colors, right? It's all your information and everything. But this right here is my seller prompt, right? It literally is all the information that I needed. So to build out a blog, and you don't have to recreate it. You already have it. So that it would do it and not, like I said, and would not cannibalize. So I'm just going to hit, I do have those words at the top about not copying, about you got to copy it and everything. So let's see if I freak Claude out here since I'm in this one working. But my number one thing I told you to do is write this topic. I want to sell my house and everything over here. So I'm going to come to Claude. I'm actually going to copy this first. Um, and talk to it like you would somebody, right? Um, that's one of the easier things to do. I don't know how to code. I won't do any of that. I write everything in here. So there's that. And then um, there's my prompt. So I'm going to come in here. What are my first steps? Right. So then I'm just going to tell it, please write a blog that ranks for SEO about this topic and use my prompt. I am going to do one other thing. Ignore the copy and paste or the copy instructions at the top. Let's see if it'll ignore them. And then it's just going to write it for me. See, it's saying it won't, it's doing a cannibalization check. Now, this could take a few minutes. We can come back and check on that in a few minutes, but I literally, like I said, I have very basic landing pages where when they come in, they know how to contact me on the seller side, and then I just drove traffic to those so I would rank. And I know that sounds super simple in a way. This to me was a much easier strategy than if I did the other. Um, yes, Craig Knox, YouTube is the second largest. I'm in this thing where I did have them embedded on my main pages, my landing pages. But I was reading, doing some research, and they talked about how the problem there is it slows that page down, right? Because it's heavy and it takes them out of your site. And Google doesn't love when they bounce. So you might have a larger bounce rate if they go to watch the YouTube video. It suggested making blogs that support like a neighborhood page. And then if you had on the blog the content there, it would be better. Yes. Embed them in the blog, not on the landing page. And then you're answering a question, or you might say, like a video tour of that neighborhood. Um, and that's the blog. And then on your main page, you could create an area that says, "Hey, do you want to watch a video tour?" And then you could, link them back to the blog about that neighborhood. So there's definitely ways to you could do that. But we're talking Google. Google owns YouTube. They own Google My Business. They like you to play in their tools to show up. Um, so I'm trying to see if anybody while this is working. Let's see. Um, that email list. Mallory, can you talk about the email coming out to them with all the information?
Sure. So yesterday we talked about how I had a little bit of an issue sending out the recording from day one and then the assets that Lorraine gave to you guys on day one. However, I did fix that list. And so today I sent out day two's recording and then what you could expect today, along with the resources from yesterday. But if you didn't receive it, make sure you check your spam. And if you still didn't receive it, it's likely because you've unsubscribed since you've signed up for this boot camp. But since today is the last day, tomorrow morning you should expect an email from me um, giving you the drive with all the files on it and giving you a rundown of exactly what we went over. And then if you still cannot find the recording, just know it's going to be on our YouTube channel. And if you still have any questions, need to access anything, feel free to hit me up at hello@sierrainteractive.com. And I can answer your questions when off there too.
Okay.
And Lorraine Blair wants to know, she said, wait, say it again. Why don't we put YouTube videos on content pages?
Okay, so content pages, the best way to do that is you don't want them to bounce off that content page. If they go to watch the YouTube, it's going to open up in YouTube and they'll bounce, and Google will penalize you for them bouncing. And you want them to stay and register and do all the things on your page. It also will slow speed for that page to load, and we want our pages to load fast or people will bounce. So, one of the things everybody's saying now is to create a blog. And here's a perfect example is, let's say you did a video tour in a neighborhood. You could create a blog that says Seven Hills video tour and talk about that. And then that blog, you'll link the blog back to the content page about Seven Hills. And then on your Seven Hills page, you could even link to the blog, but with the video, if they want to see the video tour, but they're saying don't embed them there. So that's been one of the things that, I don't have a ton built out. The easiest thing to ever do is pros and cons. I'm in a very small area. Crazy enough, I occasionally get leads off of it. It's a project of mine. It works so well hand in hand with Sierra. And that strategy, I'm going to throw out a name here. Patrick Ferry, who's Tom's Ferry's brother, told me at the Sierra Summit back in 2020, I needed to do this. I needed to niche my site down. I needed to use YouTube and everything. And I just did not listen. And it took me a while because like 3, 4 days after we left that conference, COVID happened. And I don't know about you guys, but COVID was very good to me, and it was really helpful for me because when I went back in 22, and we started rolling out of COVID into 23 and things got slower, that's when I started listening. And I'm just struggling still with I think, like most people, YouTube's a little bit different. Somebody's saying Vimeo or Wisteria is better, won't suggest other agents. I would just tell you whatever you guys feel will work for you. Let's see. I'm looking on over here. So I'm in here to create a blog. So then I'm going to come in, and my topic right here for that blog was, I'm going to grab that first. This is literally the title of my blog, right? So I'm going to come in, I put my title in, And then I don't have an image yet, but I'm going to go and click this HTML button. And I'm going to copy this blog that it made for me. And there's my blog. And then after that, I would tell you if you want to add that grid that links back for searching for homes, you could add that in where you have that link, which I have. Let's see. This is mine. I'm going to come and open another content page. And I call this SEO when I drop this one in so I know what it is. I'm going to drop that code from all my links in. And I just created the blog other than I need a photo. And it's already going to link me back to all the stuff that I need. And then if I hit publish, oh, I'm the author. Hold on. And this is going to be selling a home in Dallas, Georgia. And I would add in my meta title. That prompt actually gave it to me at the very end. So if I come down here, it's going to give me, where did it go? There it is. There's my meta title right there. And it's going to give me a meta description. And I'm going to copy that in. And then that's it. I'm going to publish. And then it will be, I don't have a photo there, so it's going to look weird, but there's my blog. And it's just that easy. I mean, that's what I've done for a while now. And so, like I said, I just blogged and blogged and blogged. My understanding is the keywords don't matter anymore. Somebody else may override me on that. I just have told they don't, and so I don't do the keywords. And I've seen that in multiple things. One thing I will tell you that is amazing, that I noticed some of my friends have other sites and they don't do this. If you are creating content in here in the content pages, there is a 3-page overview right here. And this is got where it will tell Google what this page is about. And that's like a superpower. Let's see. If any issues with some rush flagging your site. I will tell you right now, I don't use SEMrush. Um, I I've tried to keep this simple. It might flag it on there, but I would tell you my stuff still ranks. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to set you apart sometimes from another Google or something. And it's got to be good content. Garbage in, garbage out. It knows if you're not knowledgeable. Should the overview be the same as the meta description? No, it's really not always going to be. It's more of, it gives a little bit in depth, and Sierra allows for 1 to 3 for it. That prompt will write it. All my prompts will write you the meta description, the meta title, and the page overview that I gave you guys. And y'all can tweak them. So when you get in there and you're like, I only have houses out where I am. I don't hardly have any waterfront properties. I'm really boring. There's not a lot out here. There's no condos. A, um, there's a couple of townhomes communities where, and when I say a couple, I mean like the other day there was 14 houses that were considered a townhome or a condo out here. One of them, they called it a condo, but it was really like a 55 plus that was attached to something. It wasn't like a high-rise condo. It's just how the title was held. So I don't really Um, that's not something that I have built into mine. You're going to need it. If you niche down for something, like I said, horse farms, water, condos, if you're beachy, um, you could do all those kind of things. Like, let me look at this. So this is a realtor that they're in Phoenix, right? So they probably at some point, he's got all this stuff built out, new construction, foreclosures, horse properties. Let's look at his horse properties. See, he's got these properties filled out. He's got other content on here. I just don't have a lot of that. Desert Ridge, FQ story, like he's got other, Midtown Phoenix, Uptown Phoenix. Like what's specific to you? We don't use, there's no terms like that out in Dallas, where I'm at. We're schools, but if you got into a bigger area, somebody might call it that, and that might actually be a valid search. Everybody keeps asking me about building out more and more. Um, this is a lot of build out on that side. My seller side has been very simple, and I made it very simple for me. I like to drive 10 to 30 minutes and show a house. I like to work buyers and sellers in my area. And like I said, I just wanted someone to call me. If you go to my site, I don't have a ton on the buy side build out. That's the work now because we shifted and we want buyers, but I wanted sellers. I wanted to do that. And it's so easy once I build it to go in there and blog. I just showed you something. The longest thing was waiting for Claude to create it. After this, I would totally be able to, I could do one a day in a few minutes and move on. If I wanted to set for a block, I could do 4 or 5. You could pick, do a mixture so all your blogs aren't together. You could do a priority 1, a 2, and a 3, right? Or something, and a 4. You could do all of them in a day because it's probably 15, 30 minutes with a prompt once you've got stuff built out. The build out's the hard part. The once you get to the blogging, you're going to see that's the easy piece. And this changes all the time. I'm not going to lie to you. If you think you're going to use this exactly the same a year from now, that's not going to happen. When I first started this, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. When I started building this out, I had to write. I sound like Methuselah. I had to write everything by hand. I wrote all my blog content by hand. I hyperlinked everything where you would go in and highlight a word, click the hyperlink button, and hyperlink it to something else. I literally had a long cheat sheet and I would just copy and paste. Like if I wanted to do a neighborhood or schools or zip codes or whatever, you don't have to do that now. AI does it all for you. You don't have to have as much content. You want something basic? Carl Front does not. Some of his at the bottom, he writes a little blurb about it and does it, but he wants buyers. He's getting buyers. I wanted sellers. To get the sellers, you have to blog. That's the only way to link stuff back to get sellers. And it's answering a question. And that's really what this was. Everybody kind of got on the buyer side and how to build a site. But really for you to get it. And like I said, things are going to change. I can't tell you on the AI side how to do that. Um, let's see, how do I create your site, neighborhood site, Seven Hills, so it's not your site, .com. I'm having trouble with that. So when you're doing something for that, it's I think mine does do the neighborhoods. That's the biggest thing. I know a lot of times you're supposed to have it the other way, but we have to nestle it. Does that make sense under something? So that's why mine says neighborhoods. That's probably more a Sierra question, because I've struggled with that too. Just because everything goes under one of those drop down sections. It would speed up the SEO though if it was just homesforsalesteam.com, Seven Hills. Yeah. Mallory, that's a site question that I'm getting.
The organization specifically.
It is. And so really what it's saying is for SEO to be optimum, it would be great if I have to show you. Oh gosh, I got out of showing my screen. Now I gotta get back. Okay, let's see here. This is what they're talking about. So when I make a content page right here. So see how I have it saved as this,
Mm-hmm.
but when you open it up, um, to preview it, see how it says neighborhoods?
I see.
There's no way, I have yet to find a way around that
Hmm.
because it's picking up the drop down it's in the content section.
Let me grab that really quick.
Sure. That's one of the biggest things I feel like. I don't know if somebody's doing something different on the back end that I don't know. Because if we could get rid of the term neighborhoods and just be straight Seven Hills, you'll rank so much better.
It
So
looks like
Seven Hills, I know. You can still rank with it. I mean, it's just not as good. Put it under the main content label. Um, so you're saying put them under your home page and just have them where the breadcrumbs don't show up, like this. So you would turn off
hide breadcrumbs.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Build the city as a section that place the neighborhood with the city. You could do that too. Hmm. But okay, so Chris is saying that. Chris, find me after this. Tell me how to find you. But yeah, I mean, building North Virginia. Okay. Um, yeah, that's been one of the harder things. So if you need that done, maybe Chris needs to teach on that on the buy side. Um, but yeah, sellers have been my jam. I just like getting a phone call. I sat for years as an agent and dialed for buyer leads. And with a shift, we may have to go back to that, but I really, really, I just like getting a phone call and going out and listing their house. Um, so that for me and being able to do the blogs was the easiest piece. Only because too, in a way, the SEO function of it, and having Google change everything all the time doesn't change as it's not as volatile as trying to rank. I'm not really competing as heavy with Zillow or other people for it. And in my area, nobody's really built out like I am. Yeah. As far as the SEO, yeah, it should just be like the your website and then just the city. They feel the homes for sale doesn't need to be in there. What it needs to be in is in your page title, Seven Hills Homes for Sale. Your neighborhood should be short and concise. um so that's really what it needs to be on that side. But like I said, I guess the main section, then you're saying it should be main, and then it will get rid of neighborhoods. And then if you want to build it out, you're going to have to use these content label blocks then under your neighborhoods tab. Like you could have neighborhoods because that's what somebody's going to go search. You could have that under a city in the neighborhoods, and then you're just going to access them through here. All right, last minute, somebody's asking me something. Um, I lost it.
I think it's just like ask any
That's
last
their
minute
daughter thing. Yeah, yeah.
questions. Yes. But there is a question from, I just lost it, you guys. Hold on. Um, I believe the name was Herman. Um, said this is amazing. Could you please share any stats on how many leads your website generates annually and how many you convert? And I know this is a very interesting question for you, Lorraine, because you actually have people calling you.
Okay, so they don't actually register, and some of them never come to my site, believe it or not, because a lot of times I also show up on the map pack. Sometimes it shows my name. Some of them probably never see my site. It's just the tool to get them there. Um, and Sierra Interactive Jabber confirming that Chris, Michael, and Scott are correct in the workaround. Yeah, I would just double check that on the main or under the city um, as a question there. The biggest thing for me is that I need the site to have them call. So my analytics on that side probably don't reflect it. And I'm in a very small market. Now, if you're trying to do like Carl, he's in a Phoenix and all those other counties. So for me, it's typically 4 to 6 come list me a month. And then I got to get out there and decide, do I want it? Do they want to hire me? Right. I will tell you recently, I've not taken some. We're in a market where people are wanting to heavily overprice 50 to 75,000. We've had some that, and they think they've seen the news. They think they're not going to pay concessions or other things. And those are the ones that are sitting. I literally turned one down recently where he only wanted a 45-day listing, didn't want to pay anything, and wanted to be 55,000 over. I watched another agent sit with him for the 45 days, and then it's withdrawn. I've reached back out to see if he'd like to try it again. He was a call from it. I will tell you, a lot of mine are. Let me go back to this slide right here. Um, this is a lot of what I get because I do blog and I use the keywords and I'm answering a solution for someone. Um, you can write content to get sellers for probate, retirement, relocation, downsizing, divorce, failed listings. Failed listings in my area for me, because we have a lot of expired and withdrawns, are very good. And those are their keywords. Their house didn't sell. They don't say I had a failed listing, right? They don't say that. They say I couldn't sell my house. Why would a house not sell in Dallas? They're looking for an answer. Their first inclination is to blame their agent. When we know sometimes it's pricing, condition, you know what I mean? And we can't control the market. I talk to some people and their market is gangbusters still. Great for you. That's not the case out here. We have days on market, which I don't feel like reflects all those expired and withdrawals properly. Um, Confirming that, let's see. Um, Yes, I do have a lot of hyper local content. I just wrote about a bunch of stuff. Now, not saying this is going to necessarily get you a lead, but it does help you rank. Write about hyper local stuff, just like you would do on webs, just like on social media. If you're somebody who goes out and you talk about all the local farmers markets or all the local events, your hyper local content, Google likes you, rewards you. Um, and it's a lot of that stuff that they like to see. Like I said, if you're going to model somebody on the buyer side, like I told you, I that's not been my jam and it's not what I focused on, and I do get buyer leads. I would tell you, if you want seller leads, that's really where I kind of found like a niche with it. It doesn't get bought as much. Mallory, I know you guys sell seller leads, but how many people do y'all think really buy seller leads versus buying pay per click?
Oh man. I would not even begin to know that.
Okay.
Um,
Do you think it's a small percentage though? At least where I'm at, I only see cash people. I see new construction, which I think is weird sometimes. I don't know why they're buying a seller lead. But maybe they think somebody's going to come and buy their new construction and sell their home.
yes,
We see the
probably.
big guys, the low realtor, but it's just not as, it's not the dog fight, I feel like, on the Google pay per click. And it's somebody that just calls you. They think you're the
Yeah.
local authority and they're looking for a local agent. And on the failed listing side, I almost every time I get the failed listing call, it's because they hired an agent out of the area and they did not understand the market. And we have a lot of new construction out here, and that's our competition because they're offering rate buy downs and concessions. And they
Yeah.
don't understand how to do that. And they don't want to have a tough conversation with them to get their home in the right shape. And I do all that. I do light staging. I have pay at close options for repairs if they can't do it up front. We're doing all the hard work right now, like we used to. So no,
Yeah, I would not know what that breakdown looks like, and I don't want to say anything just
that's fine. That's
with a
fine.
guess. But we have so two questions left, and then we are going to wrap up. The first one's from Kelly. If she's creating content pages to match the prompts you provided, um, does she need to delete her other pages?
You might have to strip something down. So when you look in there, I do have the framework for how to build it out. And then I would tell you, I saw someone recommend, I wrote a whole bunch of generic blogs in the old day and I just left them. And someone told me that they diluted. So am I going to go tear them down? Yes. Did I recently tear down some of how I had pages? Absolutely. So when you're doing that framework, look and see if it still serves you, or could you adjust that? Like if you're actually getting traffic to that page already, don't tear it down, restructure it, restructure all those pages before you build the links out or you'll break them. So that's where you got to do that homework up front to see. Um,
And the last one is from Karen, and Michael is in here giving her tons of information on words to avoid. And Lorraine, I know in one of the resources you provided yesterday, there are lots of words to avoid.
there really is. Don't be generic. Here's the thing: nobody's finding you if you use the term buyer's guide. That just doesn't mean anything to Google. um, you have to say Dallas, Georgia buyer's guide, and then make that page about what it would take to buy in your area, right? You got to be very specific. Generic words don't find anything. Like I just looked horse farms up. Apparently, if there's already horse farms in my area, nobody's writing about it. I could probably rank for that and get a horse farm, but I don't know anything about horses, so I probably won't do that. But you know what I mean? Like you could get very specific and then it would absolutely help you rank. So that's what I would tell you. Every time you write something or pick a title, think if that's really something somebody would Google in your area. And that's what you could write a blog about.
Yep.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna end this now. Mallory, is there anything else you need from me or any other things?
Nothing that I need from you, Lorraine. Everyone here, as I said, I will be sending out the day 3 recording tomorrow. What I'll probably do is just put a link to day 1, 2, and 3, and then I will give you access to the files, um, so you can begin building, and getting the traffic, that you're looking for on your site. If you don't receive anything from me or you have a question, feel free to hit me up at hello@sierrainteractive.com and I'll get with you, as soon as I can. Otherwise, this has been great. Thank you so much, Lorraine, and thank you to the folks that attended. We hope you learned so much.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
All right, bye, y'all.